My guest today is one of those people who walks into a room and the air changes. Evie Fatz is the founder of Cōpow Foods. And before you assume you know what that means, let me tell you what it doesn't mean. It isn't a meal kit. It isn't a hack. It isn't one more company trying to tell your body there's a problem to be solved. Cōpow is a word she made up. Colorful and powerful. And that's about as honest a description of Evie herself as I could ever offer. She spent 15 years coaching people on how to eat, and somewhere in there she ran into this little thing that breaks a lot of us. She could hand someone the truth, and they still couldn't reach the food. So she stopped teaching about real food and started growing the conditions for it, sourcing it regeneratively, cooking it without the junk, and then, this is the part that got me, giving a meal away to someone who couldn't afford for every single meal she sells. 27,000 and counting, and she doesn't do it alone. Her husband, Dr. Evie Fatz, is a vascular interventional radiologist who spent 20 years inside the medical machine and came out calling it what it is: sick care, not health care. So between the two of them, they've got one foot in the operating room and one in the kitchen, betting everything on the kitchen. I've only recently come into Evie's orbit, but some people you recognize on contact. Sister from another mister. The kind who is allergic to bullshit and built something real without refusing it. So we're going to talk about the soil and the soul all throughout this conversation. How her vision arrived, what it cost, and how she figured out that you can actually tend to the terrain. For some of us, it's the only way to be. Very excited about this conversation. I'm Dr. Nasha, and this is Tend the Terrain, where we stop drowning in information long enough to recognize we're starving for something much deeper. Health doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in a terrain. The biology, the rhythms, the relationships, the meaning you're still making. All of it shapes whether life expresses as vitality or quietly begins to unravel. And each week, I sit down with scientists, physicians, farmers, artists, patients, and systems thinkers, people who talk about bodies, but also about land, about healing, but also about grief and belonging, and what it means to become human again. This isn't a show for quick answers. It's a space for better questions. Pull up a chair. Let's dive in. So Cōpow, Cōpow means colorful and powerful, but every word that becomes a company starts somewhere, much, much smaller and much, much more personal. So take me back to that, those 15 years where you were coaching people on how to eat, where you were even close to launch in the Vegas airport in 2020 before, the world changed from this little pesky viral issue. And then where were you when the real vision actually arrived? Take us back to all of this, because this is such a profound hero's journey you've been on.
It really is. Thank you for having me, first of all. I'm always so honored and so excited to just talk to you and always see your bright smiling face and all your bright colors. I wore blue today. I normally in black and white, but I had to wear some color because I'm like, I already know she's going to be colorful. So yes, it really is a hero's journey, and it's been a long one. At 53 now, I can say that every piece of my life has brought me to this moment in time. I know that I was made for this moment in history. There's no, at risk of sounding grandiose or extreme, I already know that. So I won't go all the way back to the very beginning, but lots of adversity. Dad committed suicide when I was 10, and I'm the youngest of 5. And so I was just at home. Mom had to go back to work, and I really started kind of experimenting in the kitchen because I love to cook. My grandmother was a cook, and my aunt was a great cook, but I really didn't have anybody around to teach me. My grandmother died that same year. So that was kind of my first exploring food and understanding that I had a passion for it. Fast forward, thought I wanted to go to law school, didn't want to go to law school, found out after I managed a law firm. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My husband, we were living in Houston, I was in my 20s. living in Houston at the time, and went into the financial industry because I was just kind of lost. And now I know it's because I'm so entrepreneurial and a founder mindset that I'm just restless a lot. So I'll be successful in whatever I do. That's the one thing. Like, I'll just make stuff happen, right?
You do.
So, I do. And so went into the financial industry as a financial advisor and hated every moment of it. But my husband was in his residency and then fellowship. And so we needed to have money. And so I had to do what it takes. And at 27, was pregnant with my firstborn daughter. And she passed away the day she was born. And I know a lot of people that tune into you and are connected with you will understand this. We all have that moment in life where we get some news delivered to us, right? Something happens in our life where today we're one person, and then within an instant, we're someone else.
Yeah.
And my daughter Catherine's death was that for me. I didn't know what it was going to feel like to be a mom, delivering her and then handing her back to God within an hour. Maybe it just changed me at my core. And my husband, being the beautiful human he is, was willing to take on a moonlighting job so that I could step away from my career because I hated it. And I vowed I would just never spend another day doing anything that didn't matter.
Oof.
Right? That didn't matter to me in my life. And I still didn't know what it was, but I needed time to heal. So I spent 2 years staying at home, and I got back in the kitchen. And this was when the Food Network was really kind of coming on the scene. Do you remember, like, Emeril Lagasse would bam, like we would throw the salt, right? And so again, I was back in the kitchen and teaching myself how to cook. And I started to garden, and I started to run. And I was always kind of into fitness, but not at that point in my life. The more I moved my body, the more I dug my hands in the dirt and got connected to the earth and the soil, the smell of that and the coldness of it, it just connected me to my daughter and kind of connected me to origin and to life and how fleeting it is. And it's what healed my soul. Right? And so then I was like, I need to help other people learn this. I need to help other people understand that our body houses our mind and our spirit. And our mind and our spirit can't flourish if this isn't flourishing, right? Like, why do we have this body and this human experience? I don't know. None of us will ever know that, right? But it matters, or we wouldn't have this body. And so it's a vessel, and we have to care for it. And so I ended up going into the fitness world. I opened a gym, studied, because I'm just an avid learner. Whatever I do, I dig in like 110%. And had gyms for 15 years, coached people, loved it, got really deep in nutrition. And then I kind of climbed that mountain. And in 2018, I ended up selling my gym, stepped away, did online programming, and just was trying to figure out, how do I help people repair their relationship with food? So it kind of saddened me how contentious of a relationship we've built with food, right? We can't have this. We got to be dogmatic about this. We're not supposed to have this. And we can't hate our bodies into health, right? We have to love them into health. We can't heal food and fix the food system by hating it, right? We have to love food and the soil and the earth enough to fix it. Yeah. And so I just didn't know what that was going to look like, though. I always have like these really big, grandiose ideas. And then I'm like, well, how are we going to do that? And I didn't know. And I started researching the food world, and come to find out, much to all of our kind of chagrin, is that 75 cents of every dollar spent on food in the United States is spent on convenient food. Ugh. So that goes all the way from convenient foods in the grocery store all the way to fast casual, convenience stores. So as I was kind of thinking through this, I was like, asking people to get to know their farmer, to grow their own food, is idealistic. As much as people don't want to hear that, like, we want to get there, but we're 2 generations removed from people knowing how to cook. So I just had the idea, you know what we need to fix? We can't fix human behavior that quickly. Right? We all know that's a journey.
Yep.
And so what can we do is we can fix the quality of the food that is convenient.
Yes.
So that was a long way around about how I got there,
Oh my
but
God. But it's the whole story, Evie. This was your reason. Your daughter created this reason. She's
she
still
did.
with you and she's still part of all this. She's still inspiring all of this. I mean, it just gives me absolute chills. So no, this was the right workaround to get to this moment. And so you are so hyper aware now that there's a whole industry built on telling people that their bodies are broken and need
Yeah.
fixing. And
Yep.
you seem to operate from the opposite belief, like beyond organic, regenerative, no seed oils, pastured, nothing artificial. Those aren't marketing words for you. They're choices that are things we do to help us become more connected and more, slow down. So when you trace the work you have done these last several years, when you trace a meal all the way back to the soil it came from, what are you actually refusing about how the rest of the world makes food?
Um, at a large vantage point, I'm refusing the fact that the United States can't have a regional food system.
Go girl.
Right?
Yeah.
So just because we've always had a national food distribution system, that's a massive part of the problem. Now, I didn't know that until even just this last year, learning as I go, right? Just because we've always thought of food distribution as nationwide, simply because of our land mass, right? People wouldn't realize this. The average ingredient, by the time it gets to a grocery store or to a restaurant, has traveled 1,500 miles.
Wow, the average. Wow.
Right. So that's why we don't have any nutrient density in our food. Right? It's because it's sitting on the truck for days on end. Right. So I recognize we need to build a regional food system. There isn't any reason that what is grown, and I'm in the Pacific Northwest, what's grown here can't be produced here and turned into a product that meets the consumer where they are, where they want it to be convenient and they want it to be done a lot for them. Right. There isn't any reason that we can't build that, which is what we're doing now. But we didn't know this initially. Right? We just knew that farmers were struggling.
Yeah.
Farmers get 7 to 12 cents on the dollar for every. Well, no wonder nobody wants to farm, and we're losing tens of thousands. The number of thousands of farms that go away every year. This is a catastrophic path for us, right?
Yeah.
And so farmers aren't getting a fair price because there's 10 markups along the way. 10. And I learned this when I went to it was a conference. It was just 300 farmers that showed up. Some were already doing regenerative farming and some wanted to, but they're scared of it and they don't know how they're going to do it because who's going to pay for these products, right? When the food costs are so high. So when I sat back and listened to these 300 farmers, I was like, I'm the solution. Because if I go out and buy direct from the farmer, right? And that's not just at a farmer's market, right? That's a contract. I add value to that product by producing it and turning it into these beautiful meals that consumers want. And then I sell it through our retail channels directly to the consumer. Now there's one markup in the supply chain instead of 10.
Wow. So simple.
I know, and
it's not.
But I'm not. It was just a lot of trial and error.
Wow.
And then it was like, yeah, that actually makes quite a lot of sense when we don't complicate things. Right? So I think in our food system in general, I think in nutrition in general, we really overcomplicate things. Right? We wouldn't have to be so dogmatic about food if we grew food the right way.
Yes.
Oof. Right? So no seed oils for us is just like, well, of course there's not. But of course it's not just no seed oils because it's a gimmick. We don't have blended oils. We have 100% real extra virgin olive oil. Right? Like those things are a given for us. Of course there's no guar gum or soy lecithin or maltodextrin because those aren't food. And a big piece that we did right from the get-go in the marketing side of things, when I realized we got to do convenience food, but it has to be beautiful because branding will change people's perspective.
Wow, 100%.
People don't really want to eat better. They want to eat the same, but feel better doing it.
Mm.
And this was something I learned in all those years of coaching people. The struggle was like, now you got to eat healthy. Well, I don't eat healthy. Like, healthy is going to be dry and bland, and I want delicious food, and only ultra processed food is delicious. So they think, right? So we never have said the word healthy anywhere in our marketing materials, on our website. But you go to our website and you're like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. You know it's good for you,
Yeah.
without us using the word healthy.
Love it.
And then fast forward to where we're at now in the world, where, even policy is being driven by eating real food.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're like, yeah, we were doing this
Yeah.
for the last decade.
You were way ahead of the curve, way ahead of the curve, and very alone at
Oh,
being ahead of the curve.
yep.
Yeah.
Been a
Wow.
lonely, hard road, but worth
Well,
every ounce of it.
and this is what's so amazing is you saw the problem, you saw the gap, and you realized you could fill it in this huge way. But the
Mhm.
thing that's most extraordinary to me about who you are and what you do is that for every meal you serve, you give one away. And so the last number I saw was somewhere around 27,000 and counting through your Brighter Life Foundation. And so this is amazing because the other naysayer, languaging you'll hear out there is that, well, to eat this well, you have to have a certain socioeconomic background. And you are even nipping that fallacy in the bud. You are absolutely creating what's the word? An ability for people to have access to this way of eating, that it should not be limited to those with means. How did that idea come to be for you?
That one was my other daughter, my now daughter, Scarlett, who we adopted 5 years after Catherine passed away. Then we ended up going through an international adoption and adopted our daughter, Scarlett Z, who's now 19. But when she was in, yes, that my Catherine did so many things, right? She knew I wanted to be a mom, and she knew there was going to be this girl coming into the world that needed a mom. And yeah, it was like such a gift. Um, but when she was in the 6th grade, she had to do a community project, and she opted to, we're in Idaho, so it's cold, right, in the winter. And she wanted to be able to give coats to kids
Mhm.
in need. But instead of like just going out and buying some coats or getting people to donate their old coats, she went through our whole neighborhood and knocked on doors and told them about the project and raised money. So she raised maybe a couple $100, and I told her I would take her to Goodwill, and she said, no, 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 I want to go to Kohl's, because so many of these kids that don't have a coat
Yeah.
never experience the smell and feel and sensation of something new, and being able to take a tag off of something new. Mom,
Wow.
I know. And she said, well, Kohl's gives Kohl's bucks, so if I spend the bucks, then I'm going to get more Kohl's bucks and I can buy more coats. Like, this is my 6th grade daughter. Yeah.
Dang.
And
Amazing.
right. So that was this catalyst about food, right? I'm like, we want to give not just food for people that are struggling. We
Right.
wanted to give a dignified food experience,
Mm.
right? Because I don't know, I mean, I know what it's like to grow up poor, but I don't know what it's like to stand in a food line.
Right.
Right? I don't know what that feels like, but I can't imagine that it's very dignified.
Right.
And instead of just giving expired things out of all of our pantry,
Right.
where, don't get me wrong, there is a need for that, right? We have a need for food. But what about giving someone a dignified experience where they eat this beautiful meal that they would
Yeah.
see like on TV, or you and I are eating on the daily basis,
Right.
right? And go, maybe that'll inspire someone, because I think food can do that.
Yeah.
Inspire them to put on a suit, go get a
Yeah.
job, do so much more in life. And so
Yeah.
when we started this company, that was a non-negotiable for me.
Wow.
Like, not starting the company if we can't figure out how to make it math. And we did. So Cōpow donates the food to the Brighter Life Foundation, which is my foundation. And then volunteers come in and help us package that food so
Wow.
that I don't have labor costs. The only
Wow.
way I can do it is because I don't have labor costs.
Wow. 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 Again, just these kids in your life that are changing the world left and
Right?
right. They're so beautiful. When you say this, I mean, you say you don't want to leave anybody out, and I believe you mean it, not just structurally, or not just sentimentally, but even structurally. And this is what you're talking about, moving from like decentralizing the food systems and regionalizing them, is so huge. So how do you actually use the machinery of a for-profit food company to change the terrain of people who will never be your paying customers? I mean, you alluded to that here already, but what has building something this values driven
Hmm.
in such a brutal industry and so many constraints and so many people fighting against you, what's it asked of you that you didn't expect to give? Like, you and I kind of had this conversation before the recording started about what's happening right now. Can you sort of riff on where things are in this moment? Because it has exploded for you in the last several years and in the last year in particular.
Um, this has demanded something of me personally that I didn't even know I was capable of.
Mm,
Really. Like, it really is like chewing glass every day right now. The opportunities are there,
yeah.
right? Capital and the markets haven't caught up with funding upstream, right? We see this all the time in the food as medicine movement, right? It's like capital investments and stuff need to move upstream. Everything right now is focused on downstream, GLP-1s, more imaging,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's focused on the solution, and the investment side is making money after people are sick. We have to have this massive shift, and we're working on it, right? To show people, if we shift capital and resources upstream, this is how we solve this,
Totally.
right? Because there isn't enough doctors on the face of the planet to treat the people that are sick now,
No.
right? There isn't enough imaging, there isn't enough anything to
Right.
solve this. We have to move it upstream.
Yes.
The struggle for that is that, how do you quantify it?
Mm.
How do you prove to someone, well, eating a bright, colorful diet, right? And nutrient dense proteins, not
Yep.
just a bunch of proteins that come from a feedlot. We got to get
Yep.
nutrient density in our food. How do you prove to people that when you do that, your health outcome is going to change? I can just drop a quick little bit that we are going to be proving that real soon. We're in the process to actually give you data that shows you, you know what, when you eat like this is what happens to your health.
Mm. Mm.
When that happens, my belief is that it will open a floodgate of people really understanding at scale, oh yeah, this is real.
Well, and there's so much. I mean, we talked about there's all these amazing documentaries out right now, especially the newest one, Groundswell, Kiss the Ground, and some of these others that are showing that we like are breaking the myth that you can't feed the world this way, that you really can. Regenerative farming is a means of the prevention of all the downstream things we're using, like the GLPs and all these things. Like, you really do have to start at the soil. And then that goes to our plants, that then goes to our animals, that then goes to this animal, of who we are. And that cycle perpetuates itself. We have eradicated that in the last, 75 to 100 years. And as to your point, the thousands of farmers or farms that are going by the wayside every year is going to be the end of civilization. And so you are tackling something far bigger than just, hey, I'm going to give a free meal with every one that's purchased here. You are changing an entire system that's impacting education, impacting agriculture, impacting healthcare, impacting humanity. And so this is massive what you're taking on, and you are doing a really good job of it in your part of the world, but you're already breaking down those barriers to expand it. Can you speak to where you are right now with the Cōpow model, where you are in this moment, and what you expect to see yourself in, say, 3 years from now?
Oh, yes. So what we're proving here is that you can build a regional food system, right? You source locally, you keep it within the region. We have one manufacturing and distribution hub, right? Where we take what nature created, nutrient dense, bright, great food, we turn it into what the consumer wants, and then we deliver it to them through a retail market of some way. And we also ship nationwide, right? So now that we've proven that this is possible and the demand is real, we have never spent $1 on ad spend. We're on our fourth store. The numbers that we did our first year when we opened our cute little first flagship store in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, was mind numbing. It's like twice of what a grocery store does per square foot,
Wow.
right? Because we keep our stores small. So they're 1,000 square feet because I can fill 1,000 square feet with beautiful food.
Yeah.
Nobody, no even organic grocery store can fill 30,000 square feet because there's not enough products on the face of the planet that are clean enough, right?
Mhm.
So shifting the consumer mindset is a big part of it through education. And I have to tell you, that's a big piece of what we do, right? Like we're a food company, but we're so much more than that. It starts with the simple fact of people understanding that their microbiome
Yes.
mimics that of the soil.
Mm.
When you tell people that, it really is earth shattering. It's amazing how people don't know that, right?
Yeah.
But I have that conversation every day in the store. You tell them that, and that's where all these documentaries are like, oh, I got it. We fix the soil and we fix our health. Now that we've proven it's happening in the Pacific Northwest, we're just replicating this out. Ultimately, we will have 13 manufacturing regions because we need to be able to distribute within 300 miles on the East Coast, 450 on the West Coast, just with road infrastructure and population density. 13 regional hubs that then allows us to have retail distribution all around those hubs without ever moving an ingredient from one side of the country to the other. Now, rice, I have to do that right now. I got a Castor River Farms, which is a beautiful regenerative rice company, and he's built a habitat and showing that you can do regenerative farming and build a habitat at scale because he produces a lot of rice. But short of those kind of region specific items, we keep everything within the region, and then it's literally a copy and paste, right?
Amazing.
We know it's working. Now just do it everywhere.
Gosh, this is incredible. So tell people like how they can find you, number one, before I close us off with a couple very personal questions, but like give folks a little taste of a day in the life of the Cōpow universe, how they can find more about it, how they can support it, how they can even learn to look for that hub that might be closer to them sooner than later. Like, how do we get access to you?
Social media is the biggest piece, right? I would rather not be on social media, but it's a necessary evil. And so I'm personally on there a lot, helping guide the consumer and educate and bring them on this journey with us.
Amazing.
And really, frankly, telling the consumer this is a catastrophic trajectory we're on, and I'm not a doomsayer, it just is. And the consumer has a role in it. Right now, and I'm not griping on the consumer, but there's a real point that needs to be hit home. You have to shop at stores like ours, right?
Yeah.
Local farmers markets, know where your sources come from, because right now we're up against everybody wants unlimited choices,
Right.
like that you would see in a grocery store. Well, that's not realistic, right?
Right.
They want unlimited quantities of things, a small size, a big size, hence the Costco's and the big
Right.
box stores.
Right.
And you want it fresh, you want it to have super clean ingredients, but then also we want it like really inexpensive.
Right. Yeah. It's a tall order. It's a tall order. Yeah.
Yeah. And it needs to be right in our backyard because we know within like a couple of miles needs to be the access point. The consumer has to change their behavior in
Yes.
reducing consumption, right? So when we talk about price, we talk about those things all on our social media, it's the consumer has to change the way they shop. That's how all of this works at the end of the day. And so I educate people all the time on our social media. So that is a great place to start. And definitely visiting our website. Just because we don't have a retail presence in your area yet,
Yeah.
we ship nationwide. 30% of our business is online. Right? We ship
Amazing.
everything second day air.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
it's no different than like going online and shopping for anything else that's fun, t-shirts or anything else, except it's
Yeah.
just beautiful food and it's
It is. It's like
complete.
talk about the unboxing of that experience to be like, I am being opening this up and realize this is going to nourish you and your family for however many days, or depending on the package or the program you take on, is so compelling. And Evie, it makes me think when I'm traveling in places like Europe. My sister-in-law lives in Versailles, outside of Paris, in this little area, and they've got their little farmers markets. You don't go and shop in bulk. You go daily to your baker. You go daily to your meat market. You go daily or every few days to your farmers markets. It's the cultural experience of walking to and knowing your farmer, knowing your rancher is so rich. And because I started traveling at such a young age, I've taken that to heart. So when I'm on the road, I always look for who is my local regional, who's doing farm to table if I want to go out for a meal, who's doing farm to table serving of food. So I look that up, easy to find. Who's doing seed oil free food offerings, that's easy to find. What are the farmers markets in the area? Are there any organic regenerative farms in the region that I could go visit directly and just meet them, number one, and see if they have like a little food stand or food truck on their property. First of all, those are the things that make every one of my trips so special. And so when I learned about you and what you're creating, you are bringing that experience to people's homes versus them going out into the wilderness to find it themselves. You're doing that for them because it's not convenient for so many people to do what I just described in modern day US, right? But it's still how the rest of the world, most of the rest of the world still functions. I mean, we live down here in Mexico and we have our farmers and our ranchers and the people we utilize on a regular basis and have relationships with and go to get our fresh food is several times a week, not bulk shopped once a month type of thing. So I love that you are bringing this into the home, but you're creating a mind shift. You're creating a paradigm shift in people to understand that the way we do it today has been normalized and it's far from normal. And so I love that you're honestly, Evie, the spearheading a massive paradigm shift in the bringing regenerative farming into your homes. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh
And it
my
really
gosh.
is just us being the conduit between taking the farmer's hand, taking the consumer's hand, and say, you two
Yes.
need to know each other,
Yes.
right? It doesn't have to just be through meals through us. It can be any other natural, great food along the way. But that's what we're really doing. And we're just, again, meeting the consumer where they're at,
So
right?
brilliant. You are doing so much of tending the terrain of our culture, tending the terrain of our food systems, tending the terrain of our nourishment. What are you doing for yourself in tending your own terrain these days? What are you working on for you?
I wouldn't be making you proud right now. I'll tell you that.
You're human. You're human.
Gosh, for someone that was in the health and fitness industry for 20 years and coach people and stuff, I'm like, I am not being the model that I should be. Right now, it's all a matter of managing my nervous system overload,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So I can feel it is at its like that's almost what it feels like, right? Like about a power wire that you can hear. Um, And so it's all just slow, quiet time. So going for a
Mm,
walk every morning with my dog. So I start my day, first 2 hours are no phone, no
yes.
anything, no checking emails or anything else. I've always done that because that's the only way I can show up in the world.
Mm,
And I make my coffee and I sit on my chaise lounge in my bedroom and I pray.
mm,
And yeah, I don't leave that space until I feel like, okay, Lord, I can do this today.
mm.
Um, and then obviously I eat really clean because
Yeah, you do. You know all the good farmers.
I have all the good I have all the good food. So
Yeah.
that part is a no-brainer.
Nice.
Um, but I have work to do with shutting off this whole massive growth and speed at which we're growing.
Yeah.
Turning that off is very difficult. And I'm a writer. I wrote
Mm,
and had my own Substack and was a contributing author for a lot of years. And I miss that a lot because it actually makes my soul very happy. And so I'm really trying to figure out right now. I'm working on a book called Eat Like a Human to
oh,
help simplify nutrition for people.
yes.
My goal is to get that done by the end of the year. But I haven't had quite enough time to get dedicated to it. I shouldn't say that. I have a time. I haven't dedicated the time to it.
Ah, got it.
Yeah,
Mm, mm.
I need
Well,
more of
there
that.
is something about your purpose. I just actually wrote on a Substack recently about purpose is a distraction as well, and that we might get excited. Our purpose initially stimulates us, but then it can also take away from us. And so you're in that kind of fulcrum
I
of,
am.
okay, you need something to happen. My hope is that people will listen to this and realize it's landing on your shoulders almost entirely alone right now. My hope is this is a call to action to inspire and bring people in to help conspire this energy forward so you don't collapse underneath it, because we need you. We need this business. We need this paradigm shift for humanity to thrive. And so anyone listening who feels called to be a volunteer in some of these production organizations, if there's someone listening who has the means to even help contribute, or maybe you jump in your own way, in your own community, to do something, it doesn't have to be with Cōpow, but that you get excited to know your own farmer, your own rancher. This is how it happens. We will do this faster together. And we don't want Evie and her, her husband, who's also very part of this mission and vision, as well as a doctor who sees the writing on the wall, to collapse under the weight of this enormous, enormous and needed venture. So you're amazing. And I know in meeting you, the Cōpow of the colorful and the, powerful aspect of this is you. You are Cōpow, Evie.
Thank you.
And I'm really grateful to be in your orbit these days.
Well, likewise, there's no question that our paths cross for a reason, right? Always. And I'd known of you for quite a while through friends of mine and your whole journey, and then being able to meet last year in person, I was like, oh yeah.
Sisters from other misters, here we are. We will have a ton of show notes to track down Evie and everything she's doing with Cōpow. My hope is that we'll have another conversation towards the end of the year. Maybe that'll be closer to the book coming out, and a few other projects that she kind of alluded to launching in full force. I hope that we have the next few chapters to share when we get together again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, love. Thanks for being here. Of course. Evie is showing all of us what you can build inside a brutal system and refuse to let the system set the terms. I am grateful to call her a friend, and I'm grateful she said yes to this conversation. And to all of you listening, if something in this hour woke something up in you, do one thing with it. Go find out where your next meal actually comes from. Trace it back to the soil. And if you want to put your dollars somewhere that feeds 2 people instead of 1, go look at what Evie and Dr. Casey are building at Cōpow and through the Brighter Life Foundation. I'll leave the links wherever you're listening. Food is terrain, the way we grow it, share it, and refuse to gatekeep it. That's the ground the rest of our health stands on. Thanks for tending the terrain with me today. Whatever stirred in you, don't rush past it. Let it compost, because when we tend the terrain, life knows what to do. See you in our next conversation.